cover off Dell, our platform. We're going to cover off our partnerships, and we're going to cover off some of our point of view about how big data is been implemented inside Dell, and how we've learned to drink our own champagne. Because something that's probably not widely recognized is I'm speaking to you as much as a corporate user of Hadoop technologies, of big data technologies, as I am talking to you as someone who wishes to sell you products, services, and software packages that can enhance your own Hadoop experience. And I think that's important when we're looking at how you choose your path in where you take Hadoop and how you monetize the big data movement and how you monetize how data is used in your organization. I know some organizations will say, hey, we're in the public sector and we're not intending to monetize this. But actually, I do speak to a lot of organizations where saving money is very, very important to that organization, whether they're passing that benefit on to the citizen or whether they've been instructed by their political leaders to reduce costs. And this disruptive technology does many, many things, but one of them has a high capability of reducing costs in your business. And again, I speak to you as a corporate user who's benefited from those cost reductions. But we're also at a time where there's great transformation in the industry, and we all know that. Whether we're looking at the way traditional organizations, say, for example, police and security, will be taking data as a way of saying, how can we predict where crime will happen, and how can we then remove that potential crime risk? And while that might sound a really scary thing, it's no different from a traditional policeman on their bicycle touring around the village, knowing that when all the farmers came out of the pub on a Saturday night, sometimes they went for a fight. So the policeman would stand outside the pub and they would not fight. So there was no crime. And no crime, if you're a police guy, is a good day. If you're not a policeman, you might be the one who wants to do the crime, but that's not what we're here about. Because of this disruption, it's a core principle at Dell, and I really mean a core principle, that the choices you make today should add to the choices you make in the future, rather than be in a position where choices you make lock you into making the same choice the next time, which might seem comfortable, and what's the phrase, nobody ever got fired for buying blah, 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 blah. But when the world itself is changing and customers are doing new things and consumers are doing new things, you get a frightening situation where something you did yesterday might not work today. And what's the old adage? If you do the same thing and expect something different to happen, then you really have made a colossal business error. So choices today should always add to choices tomorrow. Just a very quick snap at this, and it really is very quick. We're at a Hadoop Summit here. Folks are asking me, well, are Dell new with Hadoop? Absolutely not. We can see our first sort of positioning of a big data server, and I stress that's a big data server, and more on that one, way back in 2009. And that DCS group delivered large volumes of servers to some of the names that you see out there, and go visit the exhibition section, go visit the sponsors' booths, and come and chat to the Dell folks, and maybe we can tell you more about how all of these fit into exactly what we're trying to do with you and your businesses today, and explain how we've done this, how we at Dell have reduced our costs and improved our ability to predict what our business is going to do. And that's what this is about. It's about drinking our own champagne. The phrase that's often used in the US is we eat our own dog food. But of course, when you're selling the product, you don't want to describe it as dog food. So we at Dell say we drink our own champagne. And please do check this on Bing or Google. Other search engines are available. And don't forget our good friends at Yahoo, sponsors of this event. Look up Cloudera, Dell SecureWorks, and you'll see a case study from Cloudera of how Dell themselves have used disruptive technology to its peak effect to both save money and make money. But this is the shock point for a Hadoop Summit, to be able to say that Hadoop does not equal the world of big data. And you can see what I'm doing here, guys, can't you? You can see that the Hadoop does not. That's a mathematical symbol. The world. So you see that's proper EMEA as well. And this is the most downloaded big data symbol I could find. There's some big data analytics for you. It comes as a bit of a shock, and a lot of Hadoopers kind of go, ooh. And before they can finish that, ooh, it is about, there is a huge movement to say there's a velocity of data, the variety of data. They'll talk about structured data, unstructured data. Our founder, Michael Dell, says, he's from Texas. There's no such thing as big in Texas. Everything's big, so he just calls it data. And that's right. Data is data. I'm not saying it's all equal, but it doesn't mean that one technology is what big data is about. And we must keep this in mind. We must keep this in mind because as we found at Dell, how you make data the lifeblood of your organization is as much about how your organization responds to utilizing data and how it moves through a journey to say, hey, I want to be able to take what I have and predict what my customers are going to do or predict what my supply chain will look like or might look like. And that is such a huge audience, so I won't ask for a show of hands. Guys, have you read Sam Walton's book? It's his autobiography. I'm sure it was written for him. He does mention that at the end. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. It's really worth it. Download it from Amazon or, shock horror, you can visit a bookshop. Oh, yeah, rare occasion, that one. Sam Walton was famous for having an A4, sorry, it's called a legal pad. I think it's yellow paper, it's lined, ruled pad. And he used to turn up for meetings with notes all on his legal pad. He'd go into shops. He was famous for this legal pad. In fact, when he passed on, people in the Walmart organization, which by then was huge, you'd say, do you know I miss Sam and the legal pad? Now, I'm not saying Walmart invented big data. What I'm saying is when he ran one shop in Arkansas, he had in his head everything about what that shop had, what it stocked, what it sold, what moved well, what price would change things, what would bring customers in, what would push them to his competition across the road. And actually that principle of using data to drive your business is very much baked into Walmart. I'd encourage you to read the book. It's worth it. It's an extremely successful company who have made data the lifeblood of their business. I also say that because really, honestly, 5 minutes walk from my house is a Walmart, so they're my local store, and you've got to promote local stores, haven't you? We found as a critical point, if we are not aligning our IT department to our business, that there is an epic fail in how the business reviews data. And all I mean by that, I'm not saying this happened inside Dell. What I'm suggesting is this is typical of an IT department or an IT organization or a BI organization. They sit there, they keep the lights on, they work real hard to maintain database efficiency, to keep the enterprise data warehouse working, to keep the analysts and the programmers that support the analysts busy. And they produce reports that they've been told to produce. And then you go to the business user, it says, where do you get your BI from? And it's a frightening response. Some will say from the spreadsheet I run. Some will say from the internet. It's probably third or fourth on the list from the BI department. It's incredibly disappointing for a BI person how little of modern business is connected to their own BI teams. Now, why that is, I'm not here to say. What I'm suggesting is that if you cannot get that collaboration right, that any project is doomed to fail. And we've got a lovely little phrase inside Dell that says, if you do not know what your business problem is, big data will not solve that. It's no use the IT department saying, we're doing big data. Why? We bought Hadoop. We're done. Not going to fly. You need IT to talk to the business. We did that at Dell. We set up a committee. It was not easy. The committee was tightly regulated. What they looked at is how do we implement effective data management? And the first place to look was at all the data we already had. Before you go crazy and drink from the fire hose that is Twitter, it's actually look at data that you have. Integrate that. Where possible, consolidate your data warehouses. It's a great way of saving money. But critically, breaking down the silos of data that you have. Identifying the silos is a big trick. We cracked this, and we feel we're starting our journey, but we cracked this, and what we got out of it was this business enablement, where we're able to connect our own intelligence about our complex supply chain, about our complex relationships. So we're really keen to talk about our own experience as a user of data, and then say, well, we're not saying we're the best at this, we're not saying the worst at this. What we're saying is this is our experience of how we have taken data we already have, added it to the new stuff that does come from Twitter, from LinkedIn, from all sorts of sources where our customers and users talk about our brand and comment about it. Bring that in and keep that in the center of what is your business going to do with this data. So if you turn to your business and your organizations, there's a pretty little headache pill here. A pretty little headache pill that really describes some of the products and services that we can bring to your organization. And I think one of the key points here is at no point do you say you have to be in that part of the quadrant before you move to the second part of the quadrant. So we're really saying, the key in the presentation, that your path is the critical part. That's why, in a strange-looking target, our customers are absolutely at the heart of what our big data point of view is. Back to the point, if you do not know what your business problem is, Dell's big data point of view is not going to solve that. But we do believe this is a way, from the previous slide, of connecting with your business and then start the conversation with the analytics. Start the conversation with the analytics because that is about not worrying about a database, not worrying about unstructured data. Actually, what am I trying to achieve? What information do I need? And then ask, how do I get it? And in this space, we're really pleased to talk about a product called Statistica. Statistica, for the Hadoop guys here, sits native on Hadoop. It also interacts and has done for years and years and years, a 30-year-old product with 1 million users, with structured data, traditional data sources within your organization. So straight away, Dell are talking about these silos disappearing. Not, oh, that's unstructured. And this is like the song, we want shiny people over there and we want happy people over here. We want structured data here, unstructured data. We said we need to break down these silos. Starting with the analytics that can address all different forms of data is a great place to start. You're starting by answering business questions. We then feel, as I've said, breaking down silos, that integrating this data becomes important. And start behind your firewall. Start with what you have. The wealth of information inside even a small business, a medium-sized business, a large public sector organization, the wealth of data is huge. We believe where you integrate that, you will automatically see benefits. You will gain insights with the correct analytics just from data you already have, including data you may not know that you already have. And there's an award-winning product on this, a stunning product called Boomi. And I like the word Boomi. In a bigger audience, I would say, repeat after me, Boomi. And people would say Boomi, and you will automatically feel better saying the word Boomi. Trust me on this one, it works. But also trust me, as a Gartner Magic Quadrant lead, Boomi sitting at the top there is an integration tool you can use with data behind your firewall, inside your organization, or with data from partners or suppliers. Bring that data in where you need to and use Boomi to do that. And we have other tools for traditionally structured data sources, a product called SharePlex for Oracle, SharePlex for SQL, SharePlex for Hadoop. SharePlex is a product that's been around 15 years. Talk to your database analysts about this, your DBAs. They will be comfortable with SharePlex and probably be using it. As with the data management piece, the products, Dell products that we would suggest you look at are all about how do you manage this suite of data, including the external data, effectively in your organization. Now management might be, What is the experience that a mobile user has on our website all the way through every step that it takes back to my data center and then back again? That might feel something only the technical department are interested in, because when something goes wrong, you want to point the finger at where it broke. But actually, if you're in a marketing department, I remember a well-known games company, and anyone with teenagers will probably be familiar with this game, saying that 100 milliseconds of latency cost them, they believe, 1,000 users. So the patience of the individual on a cell phone browsing a website is now the patience of a goldfish. So use these sort of tools to manage not only your data, but the experience that data brings to the user. And bring that data back into your organization and analyze it. If you're looking for a customer experience, starting with the web browser on a mobile phone is a good way to do it. And then finally, in the sort of super quadrant around the customers, this is the infrastructure. x86, Ethernet, storage, software-defined storage, software-defined networking, lots of lovely buzzwords. It's all good. And remember the earlier slide? Way back in sort of 2008, 2009, we were producing boxes that were going into the places who are out there in the sponsors forum and at scale delivering Hadoop services, delivering businesses that have Hadoop at the center of it. We've been doing this for a while. Now, I just want to kind of just look very briefly at the light-shaded part of the headache pill. Particularly in a Hadoop environment, but actually in any data environment, there will be lots of partners. The smaller your organization, the maybe fewer partners you have. The larger your organization, there'll be lots of partners, some of whom are simply suppliers. Well, Dell have a lot of partners, and we look at Microsoft. We do a lot of business with Microsoft. They do a lot of business with us. Oracle. We're a user of Oracle as well as a supplier of Oracle. Same with SAP. Cloudera, I pointed you to a case study. When we forge our partnerships, we're not just saying that's a big brand, let's put a logo on the slide. You can see it's a pretty logo-free slide. We're talking about things that we trust inside Dell and partners that we trust inside our own business to help us talk to you and if you're reselling or a channel partner, to help you be comfortable with your customers that our ecosystem is something that will not only work, but deliver value back to you as a user of technology and your end users as consumers of that technology. And we call out this being data agnostic. And that's not a flippant phrase. When we talk about in a Hadoop world, it's often, oh, this is unstructured data, and structured data is the old way of doing things. But actually, we at Dell found being data agnostic meant it's just data. It's what we do with it that matters. No sniggering at the back, please. Now, there's lots of services that we can fit around this, lots of service from partners around this. What it's about is engaging you as technologists or you as business users in where does your organization need to take the first step on a data journey, or the second or third step. We're not here to say rip and replace. We're here to say take the journey. Because remember the Gates slide about the choices you make today should not limit your choices tomorrow? We believe for many organizations, the benefits of data and making data the lifeblood of your organization, the benefits are yet to be realized by the majority of customers. Early adopters are great fans, and they always are. They're massive advocates. But many, many organizations are still saying, where would this fit? So we're allowing you as a user to step in at any point. Am I just talking to Dell about infrastructure? If that's what you wish, we do not have a problem with that. Do you want to talk to Dell about predictive analytics and seeing what may happen in a very efficient way with incredibly strong algorithms and a huge experience, as a library of experience from a collective customer base across the world and contributors? Add that value in. Start at that point. That's our recommendation. But you choose your path. We provide a platform, whether that is software or hardware or through partners. It's kind of the way this is all about, and I know I've talked a lot there about Dell products, but I want to highlight that Hadoop is not a Dell product. It's a community product. It's open source. We get that. We get that. Where we add value is by saying there are some things where it makes sense to buy, and there's some things where it makes sense to build, and it is not our place to tell you what those are. We can suggest, we can recommend, we can demonstrate from our experience and our extensive experience within our customer and our channel customer base. But it's critical that you as an organization, as an end user, or as a technology recommender, seizes what suits your organization best. So if you're just looking at plain Hadoop off the shelf from Apache, there's a reference architecture for this. A reference architecture with how-to guides, reference architectures written with, for example, VMware to say if you're in a very early stage, we'll test in a virtual environment. This is how we suggest you get familiar with this new technology. There's reference architectures for sponsors. And again, if you're a developer, I would normally at this point ask how many developers trust their IT department to buy what you as a developer need. I would then say how many of you people in IT trust purchasing to buy exactly what you need. And it's very rare to see a large show of hands on that one, particularly in this room. So our reference architectures make recommendations, best of our knowledge recommendations. These are recommendations based on experience, connections to people like Hortonworks, and then our collective teams get together in the labs in Dell, Texas, our headquarters near Austin, Texas, and they build the cluster. They then benchmark it, and they document it. So there's good, strong recommendations there, and recommendations with enough detail that you can do this, but not so much detail that says this is the only way. Because we do not believe there should be one way. It's some detail, it's detail how-to, and we'll come back to the Dell Solution Center at the end because that's a way of try before you buy. We do the same with Cloudera. It's a complex ecosystem inside both Hortonworks and Cloudera. So again, we try to make that simple. We're not saying you have to buy this. We're making recommendations. And then again, if you're a developer, give to your IT department a bill of materials. We can produce that for you. Give to your purchasing department, this is the bill of materials that we and our Dell channel partner or our Dell direct sales guy have agreed is the right fit for Dell Cloudera or Dell Hortonworks or Apache Hadoop. It's pragmatic. We adopt it as a strategy, not as a technology. And we're intending to innovate without disruption. It's all about providing choices for today that will not limit your choices tomorrow. So, a quick run through of some of the things that help guys get along. And a lot of people come to conferences such as Hadoop Summit to find out how they can use Hadoop. And we've had a lot of conversations on the Dell booth just today with customers who are kind of starting their journey or progressing a little bit. A quick start is a simple way, 5 servers, to say this is a good pre-production Hadoop environment. Now, there's other ways to do testing, but if you're pretty sure Hadoop can do something for your business, this is a good way to find out specifically what that could be. And this is very useful for developers who then have to reply back to business leaders who say, what specifically does it do? And we know business leaders sometimes have the attention spans of small birds, seed, eat seed, fly. Not all execs are like that. They're certainly not like that in my wonderful company, Dell. But some execs see seed, eat seed, fly away. So this is a way of giving them something to visualize. Use Hadoop. By all means, use our analytics tools, use our data management tools, although that might be overkill in a small system. But again, we'd urge you to look at what we're doing with the software side as well as the infrastructure to join Hadoop into your organization. And remember, my friends, seeing is believing. And all of these little models, whether you're in a bit more advanced stage with your Hadoop infrastructure, or you're moving on to some of the Spark appliances, and a lot of conversations today alone about Spark. It seems to have a huge not even push from the community, a pull from the user community. And we announced a while ago our first Spark appliance, which will be updating incredibly shortly. Just watch the dell.com/Hadoop. Do a little peek. I said I'd briefly mention the Dell Solution Center. This is a really powerful way to take some of your ideas and test them. Test them in some cases at some scale. And take this back to your business leaders and say, look, this is what we have done with Dell. In many, many cases, a solution center will be able to brief you and your execs, work with design workshops to refine some of the reference architectures, maybe introduce some of these software tools that you're thinking, oh, I'd like to see that on a data set I'm familiar with. It's a great opportunity in the workshop to look at which software modules can fit best in your organization to get the most out of your data. And these proof of concepts are very often at no charge. Sometimes there is a charge. It depends what you want, how long you want to do it, at what scale you want to do. But I'm reminded of a project that we did at the Limerick Data Center, which is way there in the fantastic island, just I guess, to the northwest of mainland Europe. That's our Limerick Dell Solution Center. We did a test for a government customer. We actually used American airline data because we couldn't use data from the public sector customer directly. But they recognized this data source and data set as something similar to what they needed. And actually, with one of our systems integration partners, when we brought the sponsors of the project back to Limerick to show what it's actually what the customer's design team had really put together, we were managing to sort and parse data and get it back into a graphical analytics tool within 19 seconds. Now, seriously, the CEO of this particular organization believed he was watching a slideshow, and we had to go back and say, no, this is how long it takes, and it's only a test, we're really sorry. And he said, no, this takes more than 6 weeks at the moment. I couldn't believe I could see this in less than a minute. But it's the massive disruptive power of technologies like Hadoop when you connect them with Dell software tools into existing data sets. And that power to visualize and analyze, it's not just for chief execs to go, that looks pretty, but it's also to say, this is the output we want. That example is healthcare. It is live and in production now. All started at the Limerick Data Center. So the solution centers are around the world. We encourage you to talk to your Dell channel partner who will talk to the Dell channel account team. We can set up briefings anywhere in the world. We can set up briefings on your site if you so wish, although on occasions they may not have all of the facilities of the solution center. But maybe the first meetings and the design work, that can happen at your site. Again, it is about your path with our platform. It is about choices that you make today that do not limit your choices tomorrow. And with that, with such a large audience, I'll leave you with the example of Dell SecureWorks, and just want to call out, this was the thing I suggested you look on Yahoo, Bing, or Google for Cloudera, Dell SecureWorks. Something I want to call out, what having an impressive, disruptive, but joined up data strategy meant for this business within the Dell family of businesses. And this provides a critical service for customers, but it meant we could keep in that Gartner Magic Quadrant with a high quality of service. We could also improve it. We could bring the new products to market quicker. And I love this little thing. It's a brilliant business phrase. When we're reducing storage costs by such a significant amount and we're improving the way our product works, is that not what IT always promised to deliver? It would give you more for less. And everyone at Hadoop Summit will recognize, maybe not the exact same savings, but this is something that Hadoop and that data journey that we talk about at Dell is all about delivering, making money and saving money, and doing it in an appropriate way so that your business and your customers grow and thrive. In our opinion, when your customers grow and thrive, so will your business. So with that, There will be no questions. I am almost sure of that. And I thank you very much for your time. Thank you.